I know. Like, how do we do? Who talks first? You talk first. I talk first. It's been so long. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. We're
back.
We're back. We're back.
Don't call it a comeback.
So we never left. We did leave. We definitely did leave for almost 2 months.
You can call it a comeback, actually.
Yeah.
I'll allow it this time.
Yeah. But in case you are new here and you decided to just listen to the beginning of our email shows instead of going back to our coverage of The Last of Us on HBO the entire season.
You're really weird if that's the case.
Hey, no. We love you. Be weird.
Hey, look.
It is what it is.
I didn't mean weird as a pejorative. I just meant it
That's
as
true.
it is bizarre.
There's weird. Weird is good. Strange is bad. I think that's.
I don't know about that. I would have
unless
to.
It's Stranger Things, in which case it's the best.
I just have to. We have to dig into that. I think that would be a whole other. We would be off on a completely different episode already if we wanted to dig into the deeper meanings there. So
That's
maybe
true.
we don't have to. But
We don't have to.
welcome, weirdo.
But if you want us to, yes, welcome, strangers. I mean, I can't even say Strangers is bad because Wayfaring Strangers is the name of our other Last of Us podcast.
Yeah, what are you doing?
So, yeah.
Unbelievable.
All right, but if you're new here, hello. If you're not, welcome to the last cast. My sweatshirt. We finally got swag of our own shows.
Swag.
The unofficial Last of Us recap podcast. This show was hosted every single week by me, Jack, and Andrew.
Hello.
And what we did was we took a deeper look into the mega TV series event, The Last of Us. And we broke it down. We assessed, we compared, we contrasted, and we had so much fun as we went along, and even more so having all of you guys with us for that journey. But now we're starting the email journey, which is going to be over several episodes because it's a lot. So be sure to grab yourself a cup of Joel's favorite blend, and let's get on with it. Do you see what I did there? It's great. I took our intro. Andrew is I need to just sidebar real quick. Andrew is we needed an introduction because over on Wayfaring Strangers we're a little bit more fluid.
Listen.
A little bit more, but he didn't want any of that for the last cast. And I agree. I think it was good.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen, listener.
I'm listening.
You take your headphones off. You don't need to hear this part. Structure. Okay. Repeatable structure. I bet some of you, when you listen to this episode, can verbatim talk along with Jack. I'm willing to wager that that's the case.
Yeah.
Right?
I do that.
Take a deeper look at the mega hits. Because I know that when I listen to my favorite podcasts and they're doing their rigmarole intro and everything like that, in my head, I am going along with it. So I just find that to be, it's very comforting. So we needed to have that. I feel like it's important.
I do that with Mr. Ballin twice a week.
Sure.
Because he drops twice a week, once on Mondays and once on Thursdays. And if you guys know the Mr. Ballin show or podcast, you know that I just kind of quoted a little bit of that verbatim. So I understand. And if people enjoyed that, let us know. I'd love to know that. If not,
they did.
We're still going to do it.
No, they did enjoy it. Trust me.
Okay.
The comfort. Yeah. It's there. Yeah.
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
No, but hi everyone. We're going to talk a little bit before we get to talking about our schedule again, all of the iTunes reviews that have come in, and an update for our giveaway winner, which again, everything ground to a halt. So, we have been working nonstop. Me actually more than normal, and Andrew just pretty much like 6-7 days a week.
Hey, look at us go.
And and it's great. It's wonderful. We're grateful. We're fortunate to be able to do the things that we love. It's great. But some things suffered along the way. So our break, which I really only wanted it to be like 2 to 3 weeks. When we reached the month mark, I was like, all right, I'm feeling good. I really want to get back to this. Like, I really want to get back to Wayfair, and I'm ready. I feel rested, It just couldn't happen because of schedules. So now we have it on the week. We're going to be recording every Tuesday, whether that's the last cast, whether it's Wayfaring. We'll work that out as we go along. Sure. But in the interim, we've upgraded a lot of components in our house as well. So like I finally have a new computer, so you won't have to listen to all that bullshit. I'm on a dual monitor setup now. Andrew went down to a single monitor. Like some upgrades in furniture, just sound, light, all of the things we've kind of like tinkered with, tweaked, upgraded where we could, and hopefully you guys can tell.
Jack's setup looks like a complete hacker lab now. It's like the monitors everywhere. There's a lot of black mirrors all over. You're like, we're getting into the mainframe here. True. You know, I need 2 more minutes. I need 2 more minutes. You know, one of those two things.
We don't got it. Yeah.
We need it now. We needed it yesterday.
Who's my boss in this situation?
Just by the level of intensity, I would probably say Nicolas Cage, but maybe Gerard Butler. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of someone who would immediately jump to yelling at you. Sure. Those two actors came.
I would love to work with them both in some capacity.
It's a lot to deal with.
Yeah. So again, needed a break, took a break. It turned into an extended break, but we're back. And through all of that, you know, our daughter was on track and field, so we were, you know, running back and forth 5 days a week. It was, you know, real life. But I know the people who, you know, are ride or die for us or love us or just enjoy us to a medium level.
The OGs, the real ones.
Hopefully the real ones. Yeah, you know who we're talking about. You know
who you are.
Yeah. But we're back in it.
Yeah.
So today was a good day, and we are recording. Our drop schedule probably going to go back to Thursdays. We're recording on Tuesdays, drop on Thursdays, for both shows, and our wrap up show, because we originally wanted to do a basically a season 1, episode 1 to 9. Andrew, we're going to rewatch that, basically shotgun the show, and then do one solid podcast talking about our overall thoughts of what they did with the season. We're going to save that to the end of the email show, just because, again, time. Time is of the essence. So
time. A lot of TV, a lot of video games, you know.
Yeah. And then eventually we're going to dive into that series about the book that I mentioned over on our Instagram, which, by the way, over on Instagram, which is TLOU Podcasts, do follow us there, because I am starting the every other day post/reels of the Last of Us collection in our house, which is going to be a lot. So, from artwork to trinkets to autographs, like all of the things, it's happening. So
the tendrils
TLOU
of the
Podcasts.
Last of Us reach far and wide in our house. If you touch it, it's kind of like in the show. If I were to touch one of the little Last of Us things down here, Jackie would immediately come running down. She would know. She would be notified that something is amiss.
Something's amiss. Somebody's touching. And somebody, not I didn't say Andrew. Somebody.
Something is wrong.
Right behind Andrew are 3 Last of Us things on the wall.
This one.
Yeah.
This one. And that one. If you're
you nailed it.
If you're a video.
Normally I'm like, wait.
If you're a video watcher, these 3 things: 2 records and a poster.
Yeah. Speaking of, if you're a video watcher, Andrew. When are you going to post the last 2 episodes, 8 and 9, on our YouTube channel? Again, a timing issue.
Yeah, it was a bad timing. Here's the thing that happened. I finished episode 8, but I didn't export it because it's time consuming. If I
fucking export
I can export it, but it takes time, and I need it cycles. You know, computer cycles. So I'll get that one up. Episode 9, we unfortunately, due to a terrible series of malfunctions, have no video for that episode. So that would just be like a video
with audio
of portraits of us that has audio playing underneath of it. You don't get the full experience, as it were, for episode 9. However, I am putting those on the docket for to complete. alongside this version as well. So, yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I mean, hey, if it gets done, it gets done. If it doesn't get done,
oh my goodness, it will get done. Thank you guys.
I'll do it in exchange for, I don't know, 5 or 6 more podcast reviews.
That's extortion. Speaking of reviews, we have 4 pretty big ones. So
whoa.
I think we'll switch off. You can take the first one because it's your best friend in the whole world.
But bestie, it's
your
Mikey
bestie.
12 balls. Mike says, great pod about a great show. I've enjoyed listening to this great podcast. You can feel the amount of care and dedication to The Last of Us that Jack and Andrew put into each episode. Having never played the game, this pod has been very informative and provides me all the little details I might have missed. I appreciate the opportunity to learn more and just might have to start playing the game. Keep up the good work. It's been an awesome ride so far. You'd love to hear it. You love to hear it, which is a phrase that I love to hear.
It's true. And they say to each other all the time.
Yeah.
Mike, thank you so much. We love you. And we would absolutely love for you to play the games.
They just remade the first one, I hear. And it's quite good.
In September. It's the best.
So
it is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mike actually sent that review in on March 21st. Which was, I think, 2 days after we posted episode 9 review. And I was like, shit. I was like, you were so close.
So close.
So, yeah.
Hey, make the
Here
email episode, though. That's great.
Yeah. You made the email episode. So, thank you, Mike. You're the best. We love you. The next review is from Albs283-76378. And the title is #Joel is innocent.
Interesting.
Me and you, Albs.
Albs.
Me and you. Albs says, I love this podcast. I listen on Spotify, but had to download Apple Podcasts just to give a review.
That's dedication.
That really is. Thank you so much. Besides new TLU episodes, it's the one thing I look forward to each week. Sad the season is over, but looking forward to bonus episodes. You guys are awesome. Keep feeding us. P.S. Joel did nothing wrong. You have your best friend. Albs is now my best friend. Thank you so much for the review. We're glad hopefully everything, has been well since you sent this review and we took a hiatus. But we're back, and hopefully you come back and hang out with us. That's the whole point I was getting to. There was a long walk.
The craziest thing about that review is that there were 28,376,378 other Albs that use Apple Podcasts.
Oh, I mean, you know what? It's a big world.
Hey, look, and there are a lot of people presumably named Aubrey. I don't know.
It's true. It's a wonderful name. Look, the next review. You know who that is.
This one is from someone named Smo1607. The title is TLU Deep Dive. Not a TLU gamer, but I might be soon. I loved the show. I loved listening to Jack and Andrew deep dive into the episodes each week. I got to experience the episodes a second time without watching a second time. The detailed deep dive and thought process was amazing, and I certainly enjoyed when Jack and Andrew didn't see eye to eye. Did that ever happen? I don't know about that. I don't think that ever happened. Jack's unparalleled passion and Andrew's alternate theories draw you in and are very engaging. Alternate theory? What? I loved it. Thanks, you two. Alternate theories?
Because every time I
sound like a flat earther in that. I have another idea. What if the Earth is shaped like a bowl, guys?
If the boot fits. No, that was my sister. Thank you, sis, so much for leaving us a review. So you had Mike and Krista.
Damn you!
And I would absolutely love if my sister, and we would put this on our twitch.tv/TLU podcast. We would put my sister on there to play The Last of Us because she's not a gamer. She was as a kid. She loved Mario. But
who?
Not. I'm not doing this today.
Okay.
She loved all of that when she was a kid, like first grade, kindergarten, all that stuff, and then, just grew away from it. But I would absolutely give anything to see my sister play The Last of Us on PlayStation 5. So please, if there's enough support for this, I will pressure her and get that to happen. But thank you so much for the review, sis.
Okay. All right. That's great.
Yeah. And the last one, Jen from NLVNV.
It's Northern Las Vegas, Nevada.
Northern Las Vegas, Nevada. Is that true?
I don't know.
I was like, is that a thing? Northern Las Vegas. If it is, cool.
Maybe that's the Roman numerals.
I thought maybe it was like another podcast.
I'm gonna do a Google search while you read this.
Yeah, Jen, we're doing a Google search. But Jen says, loving The Last Cast. I'm a fan of HBO's The Last of Us, and I have not played the game, nor am I a gamer. However, I have enjoyed. Let me get through.
City of North Las Vegas is the first result.
Oh my God, Jen, is that really what that means? I
literally just made some shit up, and it turned out to be true. I think. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but it is literally the first result.
Oh my God.
North Las Vegas.
Jen, please email us tloupodcast@gmail.com to let us know if we are right or way wrong. I'm very curious now.
There you go.
But Andrew's elated with himself. Yes, look at him wiping his tears for the video people. So, continuing. However, I have enjoyed this show and the insights provided about the game compared to the show. The banter and spirited debate between the two engaging hosts is always interesting and entertaining. Looking forward to more episodes of this great podcast. Jen, thank you so much for this review. I love that there's been I am not a gamer, but there's a lot of that those sentiments echoed in our reviews, not just from today, but the whole journey of this podcast. Sure. And I think that's a really awesome thing, because I know some of the folks who have left us reviews are now listening to Wayfaring Strangers, having never even played the game. Just as cool.
That's a great. That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. And it seems to be the prevailing sentiment for this show specifically, more so than any other of the adaptations that we have seen for things thus far, which is cool.
Sure.
So
yeah,
it was a cinematic thing that transcended the medium of gaming even before it was even adapted. So it just makes actually makes a lot of sense that people are like, I don't play this game, but I'm either intend to
in the story,
or I don't even need to, because this is so engaging. It's pretty cool.
Sure. It is very cool. But thank you guys so much, Jen, Krista, Aubs, and Mike. We appreciate y'all, and everyone else who has left us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Everyone who's left a review from this point, up to this point, and obviously forward. We just are so appreciative. So Andrew will do his war cry at the end of the show, as always. And just a quick update for our giveaway winner, Annalie. We messaged a week ago. I still haven't sent your package out, and I apologize. It is literally sitting ready right by our door. It was like last weekend was Mother's Day weekend, and I was away, and then was relaxing all day, and there's no mail on Sundays. Sorry, no post on Sundays. But and then the week before, we were out with track meet. Yeah. So plenty of time this week. We're making it happen. Thank you for being patient. But I just wanted to, give a heads up.
Okay.
So now we're gonna switch over and talk about the emails, and we started receiving them in January. So, do you want to take the first one? Do you want me to take the first one? What do you want to do?
I would love to take the first one. January 17th, 2023. Feels like a lifetime ago.
Timely.
This is from Thomas J. Maybe Thomas Jane. I don't know. There's no way of knowing. Hi, Jack and Andrew. Fresh off the premiere episode of HBO's The Last of Us show, I finally was able to complete my playthrough of the first game last night. I recently replaced my PS4 with a brand spanking new PS5, so that set me back for a day. Anywho, I never realized that when we first get to play as Ellie during the winter deer hunting sequence, As players, we can look through her artifacts, and she actually comments on each item. This was a touching find for me. Riley's Firefly pendant and the note from her mom were particularly special and added to the heap of reasons for loving this masterpiece after all these years. I realize this show has just come out, and that'll be undoubtedly be taking up quite a bit of podcast time, rightfully so. But I cannot wait for you and Andrew to take us through the final portion of the game and to listen to Wayfaring thoughts about the hospital scenes and ending. As always, keep up the great work. Endure and survive. Zombie Tom.
Zombie Tom. It's a great name. Love
that
it.
could really caught me off guard.
So good.
P.S. I know I'm a bit late to the party, but as far as casting for the role of David, Tim Blake Nelson immediately came to mind. He has that face that, in my opinion, would lend itself perfectly to that role, especially when you think of his in-game voice. So there you go.
Interesting. Again, this came out well before we knew who David was.
That's right. Oh yeah, this guy. Tim Blake Nelson.
Do I know Tim Blake? Do I know him?
Maybe. I just know Tim Blake Nelson is Buster Scruggs from the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Oh.
I mean, the guy's been in a lot of stuff. He is like a titular that guy. But he certainly does have the vibe for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we should have probably said this at the start. Spoiler warnings, just in case, for people who don't know what happens in The Last of Us Part 2. Again, we never spoiled. We tried very hard not to spoil while we were covering the show. Wayfaring Strangers is spoiler territory, of course, but we don't like. I've read through these. Andrew has not, so I know some of them talk about some future things. So just be warned. But back to the email. Like, Tom, I love that you picked up a PS5, played the game after watching the show, relived everything, and Ellie in Winter. That was actually one of the trophies I remember popping the first time, was when you finally go through everything and Riley's pendant and stuff like that. That's when it clicked for me. So I always really liked that experience and the note from Anna, her mom. And now, again, you wrote this on sent this on January 17th, and then we finally met Anna in the show. So a lot of this it's just built upon everything, which I think is really wonderful.
Yeah. We're coming up. Yeah. We're on or coming up to winter in the game, right?
We have the back half of the university.
Yeah, but that's
to do, and then
all right.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
And then we're in winter.
We're like right there.
We are right there.
So
We've been right there for like 5 months.
Hey, we had this whole high production show that we had to watch and talk about seemingly for days. Some episodes 24 to 46 hours.
You're so mean. I still hear about this, just FYI, people, about how long our episodes are. And just double FYI, Andrew, people loved how long our episodes were.
Look, I'm not saying anything. I'm not commenting on anything other than that they were. I have no opinion other than the fact that they were 6 to 8 hours long.
All right. Our next email comes on January 31st, 2023 from Jeff S., who's also a listener of Wayfaring Strangers. Jeff. So very happy to see you here as well, Jeff. Hi, Jack and Andrew. I'm not sure if you have a different email for last cast, but I had this address already. Listening to your talk about episode 2 during the, quote, how hard are the plates, meaning the fungal plates on clickers, discussion, one of the unique features of the fungal kingdom is that their cellular walls, remember, animals do not have cellular walls, but plants do, contain chitin, which is the same protein as arthropods have in their exoskeletons. Plants have cellulose and no chitin. Their chitinous cell walls, I'm not a scientist, may have been used in a different way in the clickers than in, quote, typical mushrooms. The material is already present in the fungi to make something hard and durable. Perhaps this explains the toughness of the clickers and more. Cheers and keep up the good work, Jeff. First, Jeff, thank you so much for writing in.
Jeff,
and
well done.
Yeah, second, it's so interesting. And this is part of the reason why I really want to read that book that I mentioned on our Instagram 5 months ago, and I can't fucking remember the title now. So it's called, the book that I forgot the name of. It's called Entangled Life by Merlin Sheldrake. So on, what was the day? March 3rd, I said, we're probably going to do like a special bonus series about this. And I'm looking forward to this because just everything that Jeff talked about in this email and some of the questions that you and I talked about in our discussions throughout the entire season talk about things like that. Because while you're gaming, like, you're just scared because you're the one in control of either Joel or Ellie trying to get the hell out of harm's way, essentially. But when you're watching the show, you have a little bit more time to be like, I wonder, like, are those plates tough? Or are they, can you just kind of,
The mind wanders.
Yeah, just a little bit. And I, that's just the inherent nature of translating a game to a different medium, I think. But learned something new today. We're talking about chitin and proteins and arthropods and exoskeletons. It's wonderful. Chitin. So very, very interesting. So Jeff, thank you very much for that. And teaching us something new on this wonderful Thursday.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
We're moving into February here. February 2, 2023. They're all from 2023. This is February 22nd.
I
know.
Yeah, but people listening in the future.
I'm just saying right now that every email we read today and the rest of this episode will be from 2020, the year of our Lord, 2023.
Fair enough.
This is from Chris P., which is a familiar name for us.
Sure is. Hi, Chris.
Chris says, "Hi, Jack. Hi, Andrew. Listening to this fine bit o' minutiae, actually. Minutia discussion? Minutia discussion.
It's minutia.
And just wanted to comment. You had mentioned concerning the big, beautiful flowering effect on the clickers, that toadstools and mushrooms are soft and break apart easily.
Ah.
Mostly, yes. I can feel it now, all moist and crumbly. But I have tried to break off those layered half circles that grow upon tree bark, sometimes 9 or 10 inches out from the tree, and they have been extremely hard. Like, I couldn't have broken them off with a rock. Oh, I could have broken them off with a rock, but just trying to pull them off was a no-go. They were literally rock hard. So, that was unexpected, but I imagine that over time, the clicker plates would get hard as well. Okay, thanks. Keep up the awesomeness. Chris.
Look at this. We really struck upon something that was interesting. So we had a little bit of science, and then from Chris, or we had a little bit of science from Jeff, and now from Chris, like practical application essentially.
Yeah,
and he's right.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about those plates.
Yeah, I legitimately, you, all 6 of us, you, me, our daughter, and the Smos, and their daughter, we all went to Bushkill Falls like a year or 2 ago, and there was just like, oh my God, all of these fungal plates up all the trees, like this beautiful fern growth. It was gorgeous where we were. And I remember like kind of knocking on them. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty damn hard. And I just completely forgot about that until Chris brought this back. So
it's true. It's true.
Very interesting.
You kind of just think of it as like, oh, that's just how trees grow sometimes. But not that, oh no, they bring the fungus with them from the ground. Or it grows up the side, or I don't know how that works. So,
well, it's all spores. It's where the spores land.
Spores? There are no spores in The Last of Us.
And moving on. So our next email comes again from Chris on February 5th.
Chris, dedicated.
So
on time with the points.
Excuse me.
Uh-oh. I don't like how this one starts off.
Yeah, this could be a little. Chris doesn't pull back. And this is Chris. So here's the problem I have with Bella Ramsey. There's nothing really wrong with her performance so far. She's good at playing Ellie. She's scrappy and hard. Then in a moment, she's vulnerable and scared. It's fine. Better than fine, actually. But one of the best achievements in a huge list of great achievements that The Last of Us gave us was Ellie. We grew to love this awesome little kid who grows up into an amazing young woman, and it seems real. The developers aged this seemingly real person, and it was mind-blowing. They created a human being so fleshed out and nuanced, so visually and emotionally realistic, that she might as well have been real. And we love her, and that's one hell of an achievement. And they put her through hell. And we were there through it all. And her look and feel is very specific, and the player learns her and who she is. Then the show says, yeah, forget all that. This is Ellie. So believe this very different person is actually this other person and go. Bella Ramsey does a really good job playing Ellie, but she's not Ellie. I don't know. I guess you could say that about Joel, or iterations of 1,000 other characters from 1,000 other translated properties. But this just feels different. Or this just seems different. I like the show. I like the HBO Joel and Ellie, but it's just kind of a facsimile to me at this point. Peace out. Peace out, Jay. Meaning specifically to me.
Wow. Thanks, Chris.
So I don't
tread lightly.
No. I don't have to tread lightly because we all have our opinions and none of us are dickheads about it. Period. Neither is Chris. And I just want to say that first and foremost, like if people get upset with Chris's review, take a moment and think about why that is. He's not saying anything about how she looks, how she acts, how she sounds, how she presents herself, or they. I know Bella uses all pronouns, so I'm just naturally my brain went to she. I hope I don't offend anybody. But I understand where Chris is coming from, because Game Ellie is my Ellie, and Game Joel is 1,000,000% my Joel. And it was really difficult for me in the beginning. In the beginning, it was really difficult, and then I had this like cool nebulous period in the middle of the show where I was like, oh no, this is cool. Like they're just it's their own iteration of these characters. They're not replacing them. And I still believe that. And then towards the end, I started getting a little pissed off again. And I even got to the point where like the month after the show ended, I was like, do I even really like the show that much?
Wow.
But it wasn't about my perception of it or how I received it. It was, I was so fucking tired of hearing about it everywhere and people basically not giving a fuck about the game. And that's the gatekeeper inside of me, which is my own problem. So that goes back to, if something offends us, sit with it and be like, why is this offending me? And my realization was, I'm trying to protect a property that is not mine to protect. It's supposed to be enjoyed by everybody and brought in and experienced by their own or your own environment and how you come to it. And that's the beautiful thing about fictional properties and storytelling. But I understand what Chris is saying, because the Ellie that when I close my eyes and I think of Ellie, it's Game Ellie. And I love Bella. She did a knockout performance as Ellie on the TV show, but that's where it starts and stops for me.
Yeah. Well, it's all about what you bring into it, I think, right?
Sure.
So I have no no notes on this one. I try to treat them as separate things. I give it the old college try. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
When we get to other,
you're good at that. You're very good at that.
I endeavor to be, but it's not always. Here's what I'll say is like, will I have the wherewithal when we get to properties like Horizon and God of War, right? That are a little more what they have done with The Last of Us is remarkable in terms of making it its own thing, right? And I assume that's hopefully the path that Netflix and Amazon are going to take when they respectively do Horizon and God of War.
Sure.
But, I also love those stories deeply. So, I guess maybe I can do. I you know what, I was thinking about it. I was like, I could undo my own argument because like I've watched and loved like every version of Spider-Man that has ever existed, and almost every version of Batman that has existed. So, I'll be fine.
Yeah, and you're not by nature you're not a possessive man. Like you don't sit there and claim ownership over things or kind of plant your flag and say this is how it is, otherwise get GTFO.
That's a weird way to be.
Well, but that's how I am.
No, and I'm telling you, it's a weird way to be. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I don't care. That's how I am. I just think it's a good talking topic too, and we could probably spend a lot of time on this because I don't. There are the section of people on the internet who just fucking suck. They just fucking suck, and everybody knows who I'm talking about. They're anti-LGBTQ, they're transphobia, or they're transphobic, excuse me, they're homophobic, they're racist, they're sexist, they're every ist in the fucking book. And the opinions of those people do not fucking matter. But unfortunately, they are the loudest sometimes. And that's what irritates everyone else. And that's what gets, all of our heckles, just to be like, why are you why can't I just go on the internet and enjoy something or have an opinion? It's like, you can't go on the internet and enjoy something because then someone's going to shoot you down for being a fucking idiot, because why would you like that thing? Or you can't go on the internet and say, I don't like this thing for these very valid reasons, because then you're going to have people who are just over the top extreme with their love for it, that are just absolutely no criticism whatsoever exists in their brain. And then they're like, how fucking dare you? And then they ruin it. So it's like, it's the extreme sides of each argument that the middle people are just constantly attacked by, which is why I'm really not on Twitter anymore. And I never thought I would say that, because I love Twitter. I've met so many people that I love and have very deep relationships with. But I'm maybe on there 3 or 4 minutes a day, because I'm like, every time I go on, somebody's fucking upset about something that really, in the grand scheme, it's like, sit down, calm down, go touch grass.
Hey.
Like, have you been outside?
Not in months. Not in months.
Yeah, probably not. But anyway, So, I appreciate Chris talking about this, even though it's not going to resonate for everyone, and it doesn't have to. That's his opinion. These are our opinions. You have your own. We're not trying to change anyone or change anyone's thoughts. It's just, it's hard to rectify something that we love deeply with a new face.
I agree. I think if you can go in, if you can go in with the cleanest slate possible, right? Here's what I'll say: is like, it's not going to. The same way it doesn't translate for game players, sometimes it probably won't work the other way for people who started on the show, right? And they're like, what the hell is this about, right? You think about it that way.
Sure.
And I'm not just talking about like jumping mediums. Like, if someone's never played a video game before, or haven't played since before dual analog sticks, and they try to get into The Last of Us, they'll be like, this is fucking stupid, right? Why are video games so hard? Just put a controller in your mom's hand and try to watch her play Call of Duty. It's hilarious.
Rude.
But it would be hilarious. As rude as it might be. So, if you have the opportunity to, take a beat, have a meditation on it, be like, deep breath, here's something brand new. I feel like that's a great way to approach a property. However, I also realize that people are very passionate about this one specifically. So.
Sure.
Yeah. That
People
might not be possible.
Me, I'm people.
Yeah, I am actually talking to people right now.
Yes. Hi, people. Hi, I'm people. All right. You are up.
All right.
Next.
February 6th. This is from Connie. Connie says,
hi, Connie.
Love the show. Just discovered it. I am not a gamer, although my son played the game. Just curious where Jack is from. She sounds so much like a friend of mine, it blows me away. My friend was raised in Pittsburgh, went to college in Philadelphia, and stayed in the area. My friend does not have a typical Pittsburgh accent, but the accentuation in her speech is identical to Jackie. Connie, I wish I had some sort of sound effect to play. Do I have anything here? Maybe. I don't know. Oh, I do.
Oh, no.
You did it.
Yes. Surprisingly, Connie, both Andrew and I are from Philadelphia, but Andrew has chosen to allow time to soften his Philadelphia accent, whereas I can't.
Here's the deal. try as I might, people have just have.
Oh, I hear.
Oh yeah. Try as I might, I can't because I don't know what I don't know. Right. That's one of the things.
Yeah.
Like I could say, and I do endeavor to say water. Right. Something that simple.
Sure.
I could, and I have, and my brain wants to say, I'm gonna go get some water. I want to. But I won't.
You literally just said water.
I know, as the example, right? That's
okay.
where I want. Yeah. In the words leading up to, I'm going to get a drink of. My brain's like, water. But my mouth wants to say, water. It's so much easier.
Yeah. It's funny because I probably have told this story before, maybe on Wayfarin, but you're using the Unmistakably Star Wars cup today, which was really the first podcast that I ever started on seriously. I was on that show for a really long time.
Rest and rip.
And
think.
It's been a while. Yeah. Yes, I'm fucking.
No. I mean the podcast itself. I don't think you could even listen to it if you wanted to, right?
Oh, you can. No,
okay.
You
All
can.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't checked in months, but every once in a while I'm like, is it still? Yeah, it's still there. Just FYI, I come in around like episode 60 something.
Nice.
But that was really the first introduction to, I have a very specific accent because those all of the people that I was on that podcast with live in California. So it was just like,
all right.
No, that's not accurate either. But it was, it was very interesting to have that discussion every once in a while, like water. But I remember on the show, I would force myself to say water, water. And
see, you can't even do it.
It's hard. I can't. It's very difficult for me. And then for a while it stuck, and then I was like, fuck this. Like I'm not changing for no one.
Fair enough.
Water.
You know what?
So
nailed it. Well done, Connie.
Yeah.
Your ability to pick up regional diction. Mwah, chef's kiss.
Unmatched. Really. And I love that Connie specifically wrote in, like, thank you for loving the show so much. We're so happy that you're here. And that hopefully your son enjoyed the game enough to tell you about it.
Yeah, maybe you watched with your son. Who knows?
I would guess that's the case. But the fact that you wrote in just to talk about the accent just delights me. So
it's great.
February 8th from Belle. Hey, Jack and Andrew, I found the last cast after searching on Spotify for something to fill the empty void between the weekly episode watch, HBO podcast listen, and episode rewatch. Loving your extensive takes on the episodes. My wife refuses to engage with me on anything Telu related, so it's nice to hear someone else's opinions on the show. I was binge playing The Last of Us all throughout my pregnancy, and when I gave birth to our son, we named him Jesse. Oh, Jesse. I love this. We can't talk about that yet. Can't wait to introduce him to the games when he's older. Anyway, just wanted to stop by and say thanks for such an awesome podcast, and I'm looking forward to catching up on Wayfaring Strangers once the HBO series finishes. We'll be back to that shortly. I'm curious as to what you guys would list as your favorite moment of the show so far and something you are looking forward to seeing in the upcoming episodes. For me, it was being in the truck during the outbreak sequence in episode 1. It felt exactly like stepping into the game, and it was awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing elements of Left Behind and Riley's character in future episodes. Keep up the great work, guys. Belle in Edinburgh. Did I say Edinburgh right?
Edinburgh?
I think it's Edinburgh. Not like Edinburgh. Edinburgh. Let us know, Belle. Oh my god. But
Edinburgh? Isn't that where the comedy festival is in Scotland? Am I wrong about that? I'm pretty sure it's Edinburgh.
Is it Edinburgh?
Yeah. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I believe that there's like a massive the Edinburgh Comedy Festival where it's just like a massive days or weeks long comedy festival in like I could be way off.
Yeah, the Yanks are probably wrong. Let us know.
It's the capital.
Please.
It's the capital of Scotland, right? Am I crazy? Am I taking crazy pills?
Research. I'm going to talk about this wonderful email. So thank you so much for writing in and just, oh God, first of all, the fact that you would Like, I needed to fill the void between the official podcast, the episode, the official podcast, and then rewatching the podcast. Like, you are just absolutely wonderful. And then the fact that your wife just refuses to fucking...
No, I will not. I refuse to engage.
No, Belle. No. But Jesse, I love that you named your son Jesse, which is interesting. I'm assuming your wife does know Jesse's a character in The Last of Us and was okay with that.
Hey.
In the future, obviously.
Yeah.
We can't talk about that because spoilers. Mm-hmm. But I can't. Yeah, that's so exciting. Like, introducing that. I remember I played The Last of Us with Bella, our daughter. I think a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I think I played it through with her. And it is just such a wonderful feeling sharing something as a parent that you love so much with your child. Yeah. And then Bella loved the Last of Us show on HBS. On HBO. And huge Pedro fan, of course. But just, yeah. I hope that you enjoyed the whole season and the Left Behind and the introduction of Riley's character in that whole episode. Because, again, this email was from February 8th, so the whole season has happened since this email. Yeah. As for favorite moments in the show,
it's a tough one.
It is tough. I loved when they deviated from the source material the most.
Uh-oh. Here it comes.
So
episode 3.
Episode 3, yeah. Episode 3, I was going to talk about that end sequence with Joel and Ellie in the car as they're leaving Bill and Frank's house, and she has no idea what the fuck a seatbelt is. Things like that. Yeah. Those are just such beautiful moments when they're by the campfire. Excuse me, sharing the little like swig of alcohol. I think that those moments are really special. And definitely things that I always wished were in the game, but from a practical standpoint, it didn't make too much sense to put that into a game because how, but the in-between moments were definitely my favorite throughout the entire series. I love the Left Behind episode, but I think for the most part, it was pretty much almost identical to what happened in the game. So they didn't branch out too far with that, which was obviously fine. I mean, they did here and there in little places, but yeah, I don't know. I think the beauty is found within the moments that I didn't know were coming.
Yeah, those are mostly my answers too. For me, episode 3 as a whole, incredible. Sure. Yeah. If I had to give a specific moment of that episode, was reading the letter from Bill at the end.
Oh yeah.
I really that really stuck with me. The moments between Ellie and Sam, like when they're down in the sewers and they found the little refuge and she's they do like the fuck yeah, like the double high five. I think that's when that happens. When they're maybe drawing or something, that kind of stuff. The small moments again when Ellie and Joel do get to Jackson, and they go by like the sheep, and Ellie like makes the comment to Joel because he like wanted to be like a sheep farmer on I just thought that was like all of those tiny touches that you would expect are there. Those are like my favorite parts. They're not obviously the sniper sequence is the big set pieces are incredible, and beautiful to look at and bombastic and everything you would hope for. But this story and this show is about moments, and it's just like, oh, pick your favorite tiny moment, like whatever that happens to be, and that's kind of how I approach it.
I absolutely agree. We are going to do one more for this episode.
Belle, you got to let us know.
And
Edinburgh?
Yes, please. write us again, please. And that's the other thing too. Just because we're doing these email shows, once they're done or once we're caught up, obviously we'll stop the email shows. But as soon as we get any emails in, we'll just continue them. So
it does not.
There's no time limit.
It doesn't get by us that we have like literally like a global audience. It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is incredible.
So good.
And the emails just get progressively longer, which is just wonderful.
Yeah.
Because the storyline gets progressively more.
It gets more.
Yeah.
Okay. This is from
February 19th.
Can I do a can I call an audible and have us do two more, but you read this one and I read the next one?
Oh yes. Okay. I see why you're jumping ahead.
So you read this one because the next one is the length of both of the last kind of put together, but also it looks aimed at me. So
it is. Right. It is aimed at you. All right. February 19th. From Jared B. I never thought I'd see the day where I find someone who is more obsessed with the games than I am. It's very nice to be able to listen to a nice short podcast from at least 2 hours
Jared,
long.
Stop, please. The John Travolta gif where he's like, look at like that's me with my time. Where the fuck did my time go?
Stop. Since I do a lot of driving for my work and walking around with my AirPods in my ears, I can finally enjoy listening to one of my favorite topics throughout the day.
Yeah, we do cover most of our episodes do run about a work day. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You hush. Jared, thank you so much.
Jared.
I'm so glad that you just love the Last of Us so much that you sought out a podcast and found us, and now here we are just hanging out, or here we were. But we're back. So yeah, hopefully you can walk around with us or work or drive.
There you go.
Again, but the email episodes are going to be a little bit shorter.
Okay. Yeah, but we'll just more of them, just shorter, so we can
just more but shorter.
Because it's editing on the back end that makes it difficult. All right.
Yeah.
This is February 21st, 2023. This is from James G. Hey. Firstly, Andrew, you can 100% call me Jimmy, Jim, Jimbo, Jimothy, or just plain old James. Whatever floats your boat, as I'd love to be internet friends with y'all. Jimothy is a real solid contender. I love that. What if we just remove the E and we call you Jams? How about that? That would also be pretty good.
Oh my God.
Secondly, thank you so much for the kind words, guys. It's so awesome when you come across people that could be on the other side of the world and share a connection to something you are so passionate about, especially if it's hard to find people in your real life circles that can relate. Definitely more accessible now with the show. Jack, you've smashed it out of the park with this incredible idea to delve deep into the world of Tilu, because as much as it is realistic, it also feels like another fully fleshed out universe that allows for much interpretation, exploration, and theorizations. I binged every episode. Can't forget the bonus and listener artifacts. After stumbling across the Jeffrey Pierce episode on Twitter when that dropped. Wayfaring West is just a chef's kiss idea to be able to nerd out about filling in the gaps on Joel and Ellie's journeys and analyze scenarios that would never have been brought to light if not for the two of you. You mentioned that you may be doing a bonus show for the last cast, so I'll throw out a question. So far, can you both name one aspect that you feel has been perfectly changed for the show and one that you wish they'd kept closer to the source material? So, one great change versus unfavorable change, if you can. And a bonus question for Andrew. Excitement level for John Wick 4 in 4 words.
You do that first, because you only have 4 words to work with. But he has since seen John Wick 4, of course.
I mean, leading up to it, and even in the seats and during the film, the 4 words are, oh my fucking God.
There we have it. There we go.
This film is the best picture 2023. I don't know what else could even...
Stop.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, Jams. It's the best. It was so good.
Did you like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 or John Wick 4 more? please.
You will not. There will not be a movie that comes out this year. You're like, it's like a John Wick 4 Oppenheimer. It's John Wick 4, baby. It's John Wick 4.
Stop it.
I'm joking.
Over Oppenheimer.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Get out. I'm kicking Andrew out.
Doesn't matter.
We have a new open spot on the last cast in Wayfarer and Strangers. Write in if you want to be a part of it, people.
That's great, because I'm starting the Wickiverse podcast.
Oh my God. I'm done. So, all right. James, thank you so much for writing in. James left that wonderful review where, you did all the Jimothy, James, all that stuff, which was just wonderful. But, it's so affirming to hear that what we are doing with both of our shows is like maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but a little bit of a breath of fresh air for podcasting. Because I don't think many people do this. In true crime, of course, true crime podcasts break things down at a molecular level sometimes with certain series and things like that because they have to. It's such an enormous story. You can't leave things out, so on and so forth. This is just fiction that we are basically following the tendrils and seeing where we end up in discussion. And I love it. It brings me so much joy being a part of these shows, especially with you, Andrew, and having this time together and then sharing it with everyone else and getting emails like this. It really just affirms everything that we set out to do and continue to do. And I love especially that the Jeffrey Pierce interview is what brought you into the fold. I love
One of
that.
our more popular pieces of content, and rightly so. It was great. He was great.
He was just, again, I said this word so many times that people were probably like, shut up, Jock. But delightful human being.
Yeah.
Absolute, knockout of a person to sit down with and just fucking talk. And my nerves just, dissipated within probably 3-4 minutes, which is unusual for me. So.
Unusual.
Yeah. Or for then. I'm a lot better now because I'm, happy and even and stuff like that. But to go to one aspect that we feel is perfectly changed for the show. So one great change versus one unfavorable change. One great change.
I mean,
and one unfavorable change.
Episode 3 is an easy answer to that,
Yeah, it is. I mean,
I have a better one.
I have to go with that. I have to go with Bill and Frank's relationship being fleshed out and given its own episode. I think that was a fantastic change and addition.
I think for the sake of just having different answers, I completely agree with you. I do like, I did like the changes to Kansas City, which wasn't Kansas City in the game, but but I did like that they fleshed these characters out more. And gave like Kathleen had a backstory and motivations, and they're not just bad guys for the sake of being bad guys, right? We understood through environmental storytelling and flashback and all that good stuff, how they got to this point, right? How a traditionally good person can go bad, right? Which is a theme of this entire series.
The Last of Us.
It's basically it could be Shades of Grey, the series, right? So I really like that. I thought that that whole sequence, the time spent with Sam and Henry, also folding back on that, also giving Henry more backstory as well, and how those two things were a point of tension between Kathleen and Henry. So that part, I thought that was a really great change. I really did like that. Yeah,
I agree. I do agree with all of that. And the answer that we gave for the email earlier, just the little in-between moments that they added. I don't necessarily think of them as changes, but they're additions, and I think that they were just slotted in perfectly. So yeah, and an unfavorable change. I'm not gonna lie, there definitely have been a few throughout the journey, but I think my biggest unfavorable change is the tendrils and the no spores, and that just we've talked a lot about that. I don't think and my biggest gripe when we did episode 9 was they introduced all of this shit and then never used it again. And the big argument from everyone like Neil and Craig is just like, oh no, but don't worry, in season 2, like it's all gonna be just bombastic. And it's like, well, why didn't you do that in the first season? Like when
the show just didn't have enough money.
Oh, fuck out of here. So yeah, that's my issue. I think they introduced a lot of concepts that could be super fucking cool if they did anything with them, but they were unnecessary, and the story didn't need it.
The one that I will say, fully knowing that it would its removal or changing would have a ripple effect, is the introduction of Jackson as a whole into this story.
Okay.
If you follow the thread through, Jackson is pivotal. And I don't know if they could have wrote around it. Like, I thought that was a much better... I think, like, finding Sanctuary as the final piece is great.
I see what you're saying.
So they got to...
So it's something to look forward to versus something to look back at and think, oh, that kind of
exactly.
thing?
So
yeah.
Finding it earlier gives them a lot of motivation, something to fight for, something to return to, right? Hope. That's what it represents. In that episode is also where we got information about that. This is how Ellie learns about Joel's daughter. This is where we learn that Joel is not doing great physically or mentally. So we got a lot of like very important story beats delivered there, right? That happened at just a completely different place or not at all in the game or off screen, right? Or just we don't really know how information was conveyed. So this is a double-edged sword for me because I do like how they approach. I do like some aspects of it, but I just wish that Jackson was saved for that hero shot as they crest, because up until we see something in this world, like it's like think about one piece of media that's very close to this that we recently watched is like I Am Legend, right? And in very mild spoilers, like another survivor shows up in I Am Legend and they're like, oh, there's a safe zone up north, right? But you don't know that, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with like Jackson, like, oh no, there's like a sanctuary at Jackson. And people could just say those things, but you don't know until you see it, right? I think it's more rewarding when at the end they get to and you're like, there it is, right? And then we get to explore it next season. Yeah. It's a small thing overall. It's like but that's kind of how I felt. I was like,
No, I agree with you there, and I never really thought about it in those terms because I don't think we even really discussed that. Because again, we wanted to save the whole seasonal thoughts for one episode, which we are still going to do, but we haven't done it yet. So I think that's part of it, what you're talking about. But it also brought like another great change. It brought to mind was the introduction of Anna, and Ellie's mom's. You know, what happened with Ellie's mom and potentially how Ellie is immune. And you know, that was neat. I don't necessarily think it's a great change, the introduction of the possible immunity or the beginning of it. But then it reminds me of the unfavorable thing again, where I just think the pacing fell apart after episode 5. So it was solid. Like, it was a solid fucking show for 5 episodes. And then as soon as we hit 6, it just went... insofar as pacing. Something happened. It fell apart. We talked about it. I don't need to go back, but yeah, those are, so Bill and Frank's episode, the introduction of Anna, definitely strong points that we hadn't seen before. But then, you know, the introduction of the tendrils, the are we ever going to fucking see this again? The cold opens that never had an answer, essentially, and the pacing. So, it's not a perfect show. It was never, I don't think it has to be a perfect show, but yeah.
It is, it does certainly remind me of, because as a person, as people who get recommended a lot of stuff, I don't know, I can't speak for you specifically, but like people are always like, oh, you got to watch, and I'm like, you got to watch XYZ. And I'm like, well, how is it? And they're like, oh, it's good. And I'm like, that's not enough. Like, it's gotta it legitimately has to be great, because there's that's the bar that we're at now. Too much. Right? So yeah, you got to be very selective with your time. Like, so if something's not, I would categorize The Last of Us as great. Like, if it was good, I wouldn't care as much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd literally just be like, eh. That's all.
I agree. I do agree, and I know I just said
different kinds of things can be great. That's all I'll say, right? Like,
I agree.
We watched a show, and here's just a little tiny recommendation from your old pals from the last cast. We watched a show called Jury Duty, which you probably never even heard. Maybe there's a chance you've never even heard of the show because it's on Freevee, whatever the hell that is. And that show's legitimately great. Like, I had a blast with that show. Is it The Last of Us? It is not.
No.
But I had so much fun.
And it's a reality show, and we are not a reality a TV. Right. Andrew and I have never, in the 16 and a half years that we've been together, have never watched a reality show together.
I don't.
Until that one.
Yeah. So it doesn't, yeah.
It was scripted reality, though, so not.
Right. It was.
Watch it. You'll love it.
You've never seen anything like it before, is what I could say. So that it also had a novelty to it that was really, really nice.
Yeah.
All that is to say, though, I would categorize the show overall as great. It is well worth your time to, in a world where we have so many options to watch so many things that are often, so long also, right? You're not talking about like, oh, it's like a 2-hour movie. And it's like, no. This is like a 9 to 10 hour series. It's a substantial chunk of your time.
Sure.
It's even given that caveat, I think it's well worth. I think it's well worth the time. Yeah.
I do. I agree. I would never be like, don't fucking watch that. No, I would never
watch
say that.
Just watch the recap on YouTube. Just listen to the last cast, which will actually take
just watch
way more time to watch the show.
It really would. Just listening to our podcast is probably double the length of the actual show.
If you have listened to our podcast, if you have watched the show and listened to the podcast, you have tripled the amount of time it takes to consume The Last of Us.
How do you feel right now?
Right.
Yeah.
I feel good. I mean,
good for them.
I know.
Good for them.
I'm just saying it how it is. That's all. Unless you're one of those unhinged people who listens on 1.5 or 2x speed, in which case,
no, God, no.
When you have a moment, even right now during this episode, this is where we go off the rails because we're about to end it here. Put us on 0.5 speed and listen to how drunk we sound. It's hilarious. When I say the word hilarious on 0.5 speed, it's hilarious.
And now it's going to sound even more skewed because we.
And that's the moment where Andrew
to my own podcast.
Passed out.
Yeah, just had one too many. But so this is our first email show. If you guys are interested in this, want to be a part of this, write us, send them in. Our document is ready for more entries. So let's do this thing. But some contact information, and I'm going to throw it over to Andrew to get some, some reviews, ask for some reviews. But if you would like to follow along on our Instagram, which will have life breathed back into it as this podcast is right now, you can do that at TLOU Podcasts. Our Twitter is TLOU Podcasts. Go follow us over on YouTube at TLOU Podcasts. We also have Wayfaring Strangers. If you just search the internet for Wayfaring Strangers, The Last of Us podcast, you will find us everywhere. We have our Bonfire merch, which is this wonderful navy blue sweatshirt, The Last Cast, and it's super fucking comfortable. I know that people are like, yeah, Jack, like, you just want us to buy shit. I mean, yeah, but it is legitimately comfortable. It's better than some of the sweatshirts I've bought that are like $60, $70. So I highly recommend. And we will be getting some for Andrew. Actually, and the shirt that we ordered for our giveaway, which has been packed in the box now for like a month and a half.
Hello, shirt. Hello.
Yeah. It's like that. It's like that thicker material. It's solid. I'm very happy with Bonfire merch. So if you just go over to bonfire.com and put in TLOU podcasts or the last cast, it'll take you where you need to go, because every time I try to recommend the link, it's broken. So we also have a website, tloupodcast.com. Have to do some updating over on that. Wayfaring West, we'll have an update over on Wayfaring Strangers when we drop that episode in the next week or two. If you'd like to follow me, you can do that at Jaded Vader. If you'd like to follow Andrew, you can do that at Dark Driving. Andrew, take it away.
Hey, friends. It's your old pal, Andrew, here at the end of the show, as always, imploring you to, take a moment of your day and just give us a rating. We don't ask for anything. We won't. I mean, who knows what the future will bring. However, right now, we just want to create this great content. And in exchange, all we ask truly is maybe just like click on the 5-star button, right? You could do that in Apple Podcasts. You could do that in Spotify. I think you could probably do that in Google, whatever their thing is called, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, wherever you listen. And if you're feeling especially generous, go ahead and peck something out on your keyboard. Just let us know, like, hey, I love this part. When they argue, that's hilariously funny. I don't really recall us ever arguing about anything at all. When Andrew calls himself a doctor or a physician, that's very funny. It's true, but, that's beside the point. Anyway, hop into Apple Podcasts, write a review. We'll read it. If you do it after this episode, you'll hear it on the next email episode, which would presumably be next week. So,
well, no, we have many, many more emails to go. So it won't be the next email episode. Maybe like 3 or 4 from now.
3 or 4.
We have a lot.
No, the review.
Oh, review.
The reviews. Yeah. The review would be any reviews that come in would just be on the next show that we do, which is great.
Yeah.
So there you go.
My bad.
Go ahead and do that. And, at the very least, the 5 stars certainly helps us kind of bubble up to the top. There are a lot of options for Last of Us podcasts. None of them are probably as long as ours. I could say that much. And
no.
nor potentially as in depth. So that's it. That's all I got. Thank you, regardless, even just for listening, wherever you are in the world. You're the best. You are the best.
Yes, you are the best. And we'll be back next week with another listener email show. And, get those emails in. Give us more to do.
Get them emails.
Yeah. And we will see you. We'll see you next week. So thank you guys for being patient. My God, thank you guys for being patient. And just being awesome. I've said this all the time over on Wayfaring Strangers. It carries over to here. We have the best fucking listeners, bar none.
Mm-hmm. And Connie, I can't say this enough.
It's when I really get mad that I go off the rails,
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.